Sorry about the delay. I'm about 7 minutes late, but we're here. I hate being late. Those who know me know that I'm never late, but I had some tech issues. We're here. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. Tuesday morning, the fights start today. There's fights in about 10 hours in Japan. We'll get into it. We got fights tomorrow. The Salita Promotions. Joshua Pagan's fighting. There's a girl fight. We'll get into all the odds as you guys are tapping in. I want to say thank you to all the support. 2026 has been, we jumped off to a hot start, both with our picks and our growth. Our channel continues to grow. Our Discord continues to grow. Our Patreon, which is only a month old, continues to grow. Guys, join us. Join one of YouTube's boxing's fastest growing betting communities. It's not just boxing, it's MMA. It's American football. The Super Bowl just happened, so we won't see American football till next August when college starts. But we have baseball coming up. I'm going to be launching Australia AFL. I'm going to be launching Australia NRL. We have basketball in there, so basketball season is going to be heating up. So the link is pinned right here, guys. So that's the link. Click on that. It's a couple bucks a month. Whether you become a JSB Insider on YouTube or a JSB Insider on Patreon, it's the same price. Either way, you get access to our Discord. To all the new members, we just got a new one right now. I want to say thank you. Taylor just joined. Welcome, Taylor, to the squad. Taylor, I emailed you the Discord link. So our Discord now is, last weekend we were at 350. Taylor is number 360. So the hunt for 400 JSB Insiders is on. That in itself is a massive accomplishment. We launched our Discord in August, and it's a testament to you guys and the support and what we're doing here on the channel. So I say thank you. Wherever you're tuning in, like this video. I'll get to all your questions real quick. I'm going to start bringing up, we'll get into business because we got, like I said, fights today. We got fights tomorrow. We got fights this weekend. Not a lot of major names, not a lot of household names, but there's going to be some decent matchups. And like I tell you guys every week, what are we? Archaeologists. We're going to find our victories. Last weekend, I gave you 5 winning parlays, 5 winning tickets. The weekend before, I gave you 4 winning tickets. I mean, just in 2 weeks, that's 9 winners. I mean, it's kind of what we do. So you expect more of the same, and we'll get right into this. We'll start here. Guys, if you're on Instagram, it's a great way to get a hold of me. Johnny Stofko on Instagram. Send me a follow and I'll follow you back. Just be like, hey, Johnny, what's up? This is so-and-so from YouTube. I use my Instagram to cut highlight reels and clips of sort of things. But I use the story here as sort of like a news ticker. It keeps me on track when I do these lives. I gotta hit that refresh button. Gotta hit the refresh button. Yeah, LeBron James allegedly. We got LeBron James in the Discord. Obviously, that's not LeBron. This is, coaching. One of our key talking points with Brandon was his move to Manny Robles' gym. I felt like this was one of my key talking points was the coaching change. We were spot on. That's Josh Kelly beating Murtazaev. Just a little bit over the last few weeks. These are shout outs to our JSB insiders. Rob Palmer, this guy's on fire. Damn it, Johnny, you did it again. Good call, broski. Impressive stuff. I had ball. Props to Figgy. We're not appreciate you, Johnny. Wasn't gonna bet on the fight. Won 700 because of you. It's what we do. Sean, appreciate you. Okay, so this is our live. Ajagba versus Martin is this weekend. We'll get into that. Go to my story right now. I kind of use, so I'm a big data guy. What I do is I put polls up, and then in my stats don't lie video breakdowns, it's a good talking point to see where the zeitgeist is voting. So if you want to vote and have your voice heard, go to my Instagram story. Tell me who wins, Ajagba or Martin. Once you do that, tell me who wins, Joshua Pagan or Jimenez. This was the weigh-ins today. We'll have a look. This fight goes down tomorrow. This is what both guys look like. Joshua Pagan versus Jimenez. This is a lightweight fight. We last saw Joshua Pagan against Malik Montgomery, and Pagan stopped him, and he looked good. He's aggressive. Doesn't have a lot of knockouts on his record. I'm waiting for props to open up. If they do, maybe we could get Pagan by stoppage at plus money. That's kind of where I'm leaning. And then this is the fight. This is the co-feature, Salidas Promotions. That is Karen Vire. Carolyn Vire. Carolyn Vire is fighting um, Del Poon. This is her and Artur Beterbiev. I just posted, guys, in our Discord, or on our Patreon and the YouTube Insiders. I gave you our first ticket for this week. It's up right now. I just posted before I went live. That's why I was a little late. Our dog of the week is live. So go to Patreon to get the dog of the week. Go to our members only post section on YouTube so you can find out who I'm putting my money on for our dog of the week. Let's take a little visit to Bet365 now. We're going to walk around the world. Now we're going to go to, guys, for all you Aussies out there, I tend to use Sportsbet when I'm navigating my bets and for most of my betting tips in Australia. The pros of sports bet, you get better odds because it forces you to three-way bet. The cons of sports bet, if you use it, is if there's a draw, your bet loses, okay? The pros of Bet365, if there's a draw, your bet just gets voided, okay? And Bet365 will give us more fights. Like right now, Bet365 is showing at least 10 fights already. Sportsbet is only showing us 2. So I'm going to use Bet365 for our visual aid here, and we're going to get into it. All right, so there's Japan fights tonight, okay? I'm going to be real clear with you. Real clear. Japan, domestic, half unit, okay? So I don't want to hear any of you guys bitching. I want no bitching. If you are going to bet tonight, if you have these bets, if you have the fights for Japan, bet a half unit. So whatever, if your bets are usually $1,000, bet 500. If they're $500, bet 250. You get my point. That's called a half unit. Now, the wise man, which I'm going to tell you, is don't bet these fights. Stay away from Japan. But if you want the juice, I'll give you who I'm taking. I'm just being real with you. The smartest bet is the one you don't make. Remember that. I know a lot of these guys get pissed when I say stuff like this. This is why we got a lot of trolls, because they're sort of gambling gatekeepers who don't like when I tell you this. You're not going to get wealthy and rich gambling. There'll be a time when you lose everything, motherfucker. And don't be coming at me when you lose everything. I do this for the love of the game, for boxing, okay? These Japanese fights, dude, these domestic Japanese fights, god damn, bet at your own risk. If you want to bet on these fights, go half unit. I will still tell you who I'm going to take. Okay, now that we got that all cleared up. There's 2 fights, and they're both, in my opinion, could go either way. Kazuki Tomioka versus Tominori Nagao. Okay, Nagao is a 2-1 dog. He's a 30-year-old. He has, I think, 2 losses, and he's been stopped twice. Tomioka is a 22-year-old dude who's already been stopped 4 times. These guys are fighting at flyweight. If you want to roll the dice, I think Nagao is very much live here. I'll pull up the box rec for you boys. Okay. So this is the underdog. We're gonna wait until our screens catch up here. So this is the 2-1 underdog tonight. Tominori Nagao. He's 11-2. I told you he's been stopped twice. He's 30 years old. Okay. Aggressive. These Japanese fighters are aggressive. He's going up against Tomioka. I don't like the fact that Tomioka is only 24 years old and he's been stopped 4 times. That's pretty insane. If I do bet on this fight, I'll let you know. We're just kind of running you down. If you want to get action on this fight, it goes down tonight, okay? This is the favorite. I don't like it at all. I think the odds are way wrong. I think this should be a coin flip. He's 23. Okay, he's 10-4. He's been stopped 3 times. This kid's young. He's aggressive. These dudes literally have no defense. So just keep that in mind. If you want to sprinkle a dog for tonight and you're not going to be pissed if you lose because you're going half unit, this is your dog. You would go Nagao. And if I take Nagao, I'll let you know. So if you want to do an experimental parlay, you would take Nagao on the money line. You know what? I might do this. I might do this now and not post it because some of you guys get salty. We have some degenerate gamblers in our Discord who don't watch any content. They don't watch any live streams. They don't watch my Stats Don't Lie videos. All they do is go and then they look for when I post my bets, and that's fine. Last weekend I gave you 5 picks, but I posted one of the parlays, which we do every day, like we're doing now, the live stream parlay, and I didn't share it because it's like, bitch, if you want every one of my bets, you better watch. Lazy. So I still gave 5, but the live stream ones I don't post. The live stream ones are for JSB insiders or any of you guys who support my channel. If you're following along, you would know who I'm taking. And so I'm probably going to do this. And if I do, I'll let you know probably by the end of the stream. I'm probably going to take Nagao as my dog at plus 200, half unit, nothing too. I'm not going to be invested too much. I just don't like how the 23-year-old fights. He has no defense. Someone's getting stopped. And I also like I do think the one favorite will win. I do think Kawara will win. So if you want to do, this is plus 285 right here. So I like Nagao. I like the dog in the second, Tominori Nagao on the money line. And then I like Kawara as the, super chalk. Plus 285, 100 gets you 285 back. I'll let you know if I make this official, okay? Let's move on. You know what? I'm going to take some of your answers. We're floating between 35 and 50 in here right now. As you guys, I want to tap in. I want to see what's up with the boys. So I'm going to tap in now, and then we'll get back to the bets. Wagwan, what's up, buddy? Johnny says, join our VIP, join our membership. It's a couple bucks a month. You guys know what we do. Allie points. Allie's a Patreon member. Allie, go check the Patreon. I just gave you a ticket. Rob Lee, if you guys are in our Discord, this is Skills. My man's a sharp. He's an animal. Team Robles, we up. Yep, not many of us, Skills, were talking about Brandon Fig. So time to get our flowers, right? Not many of us. There weren't many of us taking Brandon Figueroa. And we keep our receipts too. Whether we win or lose, we keep our receipts. So they're all up. We're growing. Let's acknowledge a couple big misses that happened at Zuffa. Oh, yeah, Zuffa. A couple big misses. Zuffa was an awful card for me. Let's pull that shit up. So if you want to acknowledge my misses, just go to my channel. They're all up. I am a hopeless romantic and a hopeless optimist, but I will play your game here, Dimitri, because I think it's fair. You are an insider, and I was wrong on. I took Christian Medina or Utah. I mean, the Zuffa card hasn't been too great for me overall because I also took I I took Boacek to lose in which he won, and I took Vozdik to win in which he lost. So yeah, let's make sure we get it right for ZB3. Yeah, Zuffa. I got Zuffa 1 right. We hit on Zuffa 1. That's where we hit Julian Rodriguez. But the Boacek card, I flip-flopped. If I would have had Boacek flip-flop, we would have hit. What's up, Will? Nice call with Figgy. I doubted him and did see it coming. It's all good, man. I understand why. Nobody's 100% right. I don't always get everything right. At least you guys over time know my systems. I'm a coach. So, and I'm an athlete and I box. And boxing. I boxed from the time I was 7 until I was 15. Lifelong athlete. I started boxing again, sparring again when I was 30. But I'm a coach as well. I'm a strength coach. One of my students is fighting for the Australian to be in the Commonwealth Games. He's a JSB insider. Shout out to Kay McInerney. I'm a strength and conditioning coach. So why I reference that is when I'm doing film study, I'm not just looking at records and resumes. I'm not just looking at what they look like in their last performance. I'm deep diving into their strength and conditioning, who their coaches are, were there any coaches changes, how do they fare well with a sort of drill sergeant guy, how do they adapt to a new sort of system, and who's their sparring partners. When I did all that with Figueroa, that's what led me to Brandon. And then, you mix that with the other things, the noticeable things, the odds. Where is the current zeitgeist, the talking heads going? When I saw 90% of the talking heads picking Nick Ball, just like they picked Josh, or just like they picked Murtazayev, I knew I was onto something. Boxing report, I like F.A. Ajagba. Right now, I do as well. That's a great. I like your icon too. I like your picture. It's pretty cool, man. I'm gonna be releasing my Stats Don't Lie video of F.A. Ajagba versus Charles Martin. So just stay tuned. How do I get to the Discord? Alphonse, email me. Email me, and I'll send you the Discord link. We have fights today in Japan. Johnny, you ever tried Tapari? Let's see what Tapari is. Organic leaves? Is Tapari like grape leaves? King of Fitness, Johnny, what's up? My guy made 5,000 on Seattle yesterday. My boy Drake made turning to Ryan Leaf yesterday. Yeah. So I did a little sneaky small Jackson Smith and Jigba parlay, which didn't hit, but it was good to see Seattle win. Guys, wherever you are in the world, I say thank you for supporting me. However you support me by being a JSB, Johnny Says Boxing Insider like King, or you're a subscriber, or you like this video, I say thank you. It means a lot. Ajagba by a chopping left hand in the third round. Yeah, the thing we have to understand about the heavyweights, guys, is we know that the power stays later on in a career, but we know once the lights go out once your chin gets checked once and you get stopped, it happens easier and easier the older you get. Then we have to start thinking the foundation. Does this guy have a solid base? What's his balance like? When you see sort of heavyweights, here's a good example of this. I remember somebody should have went to prison for this, but when Evander Holyfield came back and he boxed Vitor Belfort, and Vitor had only been retired from the UFC for a few years, and he was still on the gear, and Evander Holyfield is in his late 50s at the time. As soon as that fight started, you could see that his legs weren't there. That's because his central nervous system has been fried. He's older. His balance is gone. His foundation is gone. That example of Evander, without even getting hit, when you see him moving, you see, there's no balance, there's no rhythm to it. It looks very shaky. That happens. I think, I'm not saying Charles Martin's a victim of that. I need to watch him sparring. But I'll let you know. We got Japan today. We got the Salida promotions tomorrow. And then we have the F.A. Ajagba card on the weekend. And we're going to do it in that order in terms of my Stats Don't Lie videos. Barrios by nuclear stop. Yeah, I definitely like Mario to beat Ryan in that fight. You look like Peter Pan. The swindler. This is our swindler says hat because we've been swindling. How about that guy? How about these gatekeepers online? They don't like the way we do our things. He swindles people. It's like, dude, mate, you need a passion in life. We need to get passion. You never see anybody you never see successful people who are passionate about their career or their sort of projects. You never see them hating. Y'all just hating on that. Y'all can't even get in the club. I got stopped when I used to fight in Mexico. It's nothing wrong with it. Oh, getting stopped is part of the game. I was talking about the FA Ajagba Charles Martin fight in heavyweights. Somebody said that they could see a Ajagba by a chopping right hand in the ninth. That's what I was referring to. Getting stopped is part of the game. No, but dude, it's not normal to retire undefeated. Diamond glove. What's up, Cody? Yeah, I could see you're joined, but I have to send you the Discord link. And if you're in the Discord already, you're in the Discord already, brother. Ver versus Pursoon tomorrow, 4 p.m. girls fight. Even money gonna check some tape. I taped it. I like Vaire in this fight. She's 37, she's a bit of a younger 37. Pursoon's best years were in 2019 and 2020. She fought Katie Taylor twice. She's 41 now. I'm leaning on the fact of a young 37 versus a legit 41-year-old. I'm leaning on the fact of the A side, and I think speed kills in this one. So I actually have Vaire as a dog, and I think it's going to be speed, and sort of a little bit of an energy component on Vaire. I give her those advantages. Pursoon will be there the entire time. It should be a close fight. I think the draw is in play as well, but I don't have the heart to play draws. Got FA Nigeria stand up. Yeah, I got FA too. Shout out Massachusetts, UMass. Didn't Marcus Camby go to UMass? I'm really aging myself here, but in the '90s, I'm pretty sure Marcus Camby, he was a dog in college. He had a decent career too. I think he was a Nick. I'm a bigger, I'm obviously a pro sports fan, but being, Northeast Ohio, I'm a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan, both American football and basketball. In the '90s, we had some squads in Columbus: Jimmy Jackson, Jamal Baker, Treg Lee, Chris Gent. And then, the teams with Michael Redd and Scooney Penn. We had Evan Turner after that. Uh, the boss joined before the new year. I've been profitable. Appreciate all the work you put in, and it's just a joy hearing you. I appreciate you, Christos. I appreciate the support. Guys, it's really a team here. The way I go about this is just as any team sport. It's not just me. The last thing I ever want to do is project myself on a platform and tell you that I'm the best at something. It's kind of like in the second book that in my first published book called Success Secrets of Modern Day Giants, I talk about cults. There's a little section where I interview experts. The book is me interviewing world champions, interviewing multimillionaires, interviewing rocket scientists, and then I tell stories on my own about what the interview was like and what the reader should take. And there's a segment in it I talk about cults, the mindset of a cult, and I talk about how if there's anybody in your life excluding a medical specialist, so like excluding a heart surgeon, excluding a brain surgeon, excluding a medical specialist, if there's anyone else in your life telling you they're the best at something, like an expert at something, they're conning you. They're conning you because the minute you tell the world that you're the best at something, you're also telling the world that you stopped learning, that you have all the knowledge and you no longer have to seek outside of yourself for other perspectives. And it's how I run all my businesses. I always want to be a student. I kind of take pride in myself as being able to learn. I think as humans, we're very malleable in the information we take in, but it's up to us when we reach adulthood to be able to compartmentalize. Is this good info? Is this bad info? Is this negative? Is this positive? And so I look at the community we're building as a collective effort. So when I win, you win. When you win, I win. And when we lose, we do it together as well. Okay. What's up? Vargas's body shots on Ball and Fig's knockout on Neary were tells that Figueroa could stop Ball. Figured the ref would save or help Ball in stoppage. Yeah, I thought the body work. If you go back to my stats don't lie video, I say that. I say that pay attention to the body work. I think the body punching will be a narrative in this outcome on Figueroa being up. And it was gorgeous. He went right back to that setup. I talked about how Ball in the pocket as well gives his opponents both shoulders. Ball's punching you, giving you both shoulders. Figueroa goes bladed, and in the knockout sequence, they're in the middle of the ring. He goes from ortho to Southie. Figueroa. He leans in. He goes to the body. He starts working like he did all fight, but there was a little difference in his backhand when he threw it. He goes here, forces the jab. Ball throws. Ball throws the jab that he threw all fight, very predictable, and he loops his right hand. And I talked about this in my breakdown. Ball has a tendency to loop his right hand, loop his hooks, right? He wants to put his head on his opponent's chest and throw his hooks over the top. And I was like, Figueroa, he goes bladed, he's coming to the body, and that knockout punch in the 12th, he timed it perfectly, throwing it inside of one of Ball's loopy hooks and caught him gorgeously. Did I bet on the Super Bowl? What's up, Mike from VA? VA, baby. Believe that. I did. I did a prop bet built around Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and I'm a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan. And I know that Mike Vrabel, coach of the Patriots, was a good Buckeye, and even Travion, their backup running back, was a Buckeye. But JSN, man, one of my favorite players in the league. I built a little prop around JSN having five. I think I banked on him having a massive game, and he didn't, which is fine. But it wasn't a big bet. I was at a funeral yesterday too, so I didn't even get to watch the Super Bowl. Did you see this fight going the distance? There's exceptions for cuts, etc. But outside of that, which fight, Sent? Which fight? Cool, I'll check it too. Does Charles Martin even want to win? You got to ask yourself that. It seems like as fans we could tell, right? It's one of the things that the fights this past weekend. When you looked at Figueroa beating a massive underdog, what I kept doing was going into Manny Robles' Instagram for the weeks prior, and I want to look into. And shout out to Rob, shout out to Skills in our Discord. He messaged Manny Robles and he shared the messages in our Discord. I want to see what the fight camp looks like. I want to see, is this guy motivated? I want to see how he's moving, his nonverbal communication, how he's carrying himself, his posture. And once you see that, you would have, if you looked for that in Brandon Figueroa, you would have known he was switched on. And then you watch Fight Week, and then you're waiting to see how he is during the media press. And you saw him wearing the assassin sort of Peaky Blinders sniper outfit, and you're like, all right, he means business. And then you want to watch the weigh-ins. You're like, all right, what does he look like? And he looked super in shape. And I was like, all right, this guy is here to win. You don't change. You don't leave your father. You don't leave your lifelong coach, who's your father, when you're from a fighting family at 29 years old, because you're not trying to win. This is what Figueroa did. And so with Charles Martin, it's something you got to look into. Does Charles Martin want to win? Well, never lost. You got to look into who's he training with, who's his camp. Can you find any footage of his fight camp? Then you got to watch Fight Week. What's the media look like? Then you got to watch weigh-ins. How was his cut? What's his nonverbal communication? Then we know he's the B side here. So these are, I'm giving you my checklists, my sort of checks and balances of when it's not just tape, as you could tell with our predictions. Just watching tape. Some weeks I don't watch tape. I don't always have to watch tape because I watch all the fights. If I just saw you fight, and we're talking about two fighters who are active, and I just saw what Brandon looked like against Jowett, and I just saw what Brandon looked like against Fulton, and I just saw what Nick Ball looked like against Sammy Goodman, and what he looked like against TJ Doheny, I don't need to watch tape. I'm taking all that time that people watch tape with, because I've watched them fight. I watched this shit my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm looking at the other things. And I think this gives us, our group, a sort of level up on the competition. If people, I'm not in competition with anybody, but if people are comparing what they're doing to us, I think it all comes down to our approach. We got people like Rob and Skills who are reaching out to coaches. In my network, I'm friends with fighters. I'm friends with sparring partners. I'm friends with promoters. I'm sending messages out. What's the camp been like? Who's sparring with them? So it's not just picking winners. We put a lot of time and energy into this. And if your system is just watching film study, you don't have to just watch film study if you're already watching the fights. There's other ways to go about it. Why do I like Barrios against Ryan? I think Mario Barrios is a better boxer. I think Mario Barrios' boxing skills, I think he has more options and paths to victory to win. I think he's obviously the bigger guy. He's the longer guy. He's the world champion. He's been in there with the better competition. We've seen Ryan, what's his path to victory? Setting up his lead hook. When you're talking about boxing 101 and game plans and you're talking about strategies, right? Don't hook with the hooker. I don't expect Mario Barrios to be hooking with Ryan Garcia. And so you take that versus the Ryan we just saw against Rolly Romero. And what Raleigh, no, Raleigh's one of my favorite fighters. Raleigh to become a 2 division world champion, I say is one of the greatest stories in modern boxing of an overachiever. Winning a title at 40, being elevated at 47. This is Raleigh Romero, a very limited skill set. This guy's not a well-rounded boxer with 0 holes in his game. And this guy beat Ryan Garcia. Mario Barrios, he's been in there with the better competition. He's the better skilled fighter. He's not going to have the power advantage, but you can work your way through a fight around that lead hook. And Ryan Garcia has a lot of tells in his footwork. His feet are flat, doesn't use the entire ring. When he gets frustrated with his lead hook, he likes jumping into his lead hook. He's not really patient with setting it up. His entrances are one-dimensional. There's a lot of things about Ryan Garcia's game. If you're looking at it from a technical standpoint, you would say that he should lose a wide decision. So that's right now where I'm going with Barrios versus Garcia. Harold Miner, Baby Jordan. Remember Baby Jordan? Dude, talk about the pressure they put on Harold Miner. They called him Baby Jordan. And then I think he got drafted to the Heat. And Jimmy Jackson, JJ, I think got drafted to the Mavericks. Or at least that's where JJ cut his teeth. He had some good years in the NBA. Foster would give ball an early count and stretch it as long as he can. Greg Oden. Yeah, there's a lot. D'Lo. We had a lot in Columbus, especially the Thad Matta years. The Thad Matta years, man, he turned Ohio State into a nice, very nice program that we were in the tournament every year. Because we went through this lull after Jimmy Jackson and Mark Baker and Jamal Butler in the 90s. We went through this lull of we had Lawrence Funderburk that I think we might have made the tournament with Funderburk in the late 90s. But then we went through this period of really down years until I think Thad Matta came. But Aaron, who we had this little white point guard who was Mr. Basketball in Ohio, Aaron, and they tried building a whole program around Aaron. He was tough, good on both sides of the ball. He was just undersized. Mike Conley Jr. Yeah, the Buckeyes had some boys. What game did you post on Patreon? I posted the Dog of the Week. It's up there right now. So go to the Patreon and YouTube members only. So if you joined in the Patreon, which you did, LeBron, you don't have to go to the YouTube section because you don't have access to the YouTube section. Go to Patreon, go to posts. I did it about an hour ago. Foster too big for ball. Yes. The ref for the ball fight definitely did a long count for ball. Played 21 questions with Nick. He gave him a kiss too. He hugged him or something. Never cared for ball style. Carrington, Monster, Espinosa. One of them would got it. We called that. I fully agree. Guys, people are saying, I really think Figueroa could unify at 26. I do. Figueroa, I think I would take to beat Angelo Leo. I think so, man. I think when you watch how Figueroa is craftier than a lot of people think, it's not. You have to look at what he's doing a little bit more than what you're optically seeing. That knockout in the 12th came from all of that determined body punching. And then his adjustment with his punch angle came from Nick Ball. If you watch him in between rounds, I would say from the 7th onwards, in between rounds, his eyes were glossed over. He's like this, and he had a little bit of blood trickling, and it looked like he was fighting so defensively. He would have these moments of countering because he had the speed advantage, and he kept catching Figgy with that jab and then the uppercut early. But his work wasn't really pieced together in harmony. He didn't have progress work, my coach used to call it. It was in pieces. It was segmented. When you look at Figueroa's work, it was all connected. His work, he was adhering to a game plan, and so that adjustment he made with that knockout sequence had a lot to do with the rounds and rounds of the determined body punching mixed what we know when you get hit to the body, what that does to our energy system, our cardio. You start seeing Nick Brawl breathing out of his mouth. What does that tell you? When you start getting tired in a fight, your technique kind of dissipates a bit. The punches start getting loopier. And that's exactly what happened. Ball is back up against the ropes. He's adhering to Figueroa's game plan. He's looking for the counter. He's tired now. He's getting hit to the body now, and he loops that hook, and Figueroa's timing was on point. You could give me a knockout one punch guy. You could give me the guy with the fastest speed. But if in a matchup, I will take the guy with the better timing over any of that any day of the week. And that comes with craftiness. You can't buy timing. You have to earn it through sparring. You have to earn it through a long fight career. Timing comes with experience. It's not like being born with a good left hook or being born with just a durable chin, like a Triple G sort of chin. Having great timing a lot of times is a learned thing through a long career. And so, mate, I would take Figueroa to beat Angelo Leo. Now, obviously, I think he'd be in trouble versus Carrington. I don't want to see Figueroa versus Carrington right now. I'd rather see Carrington versus Rafa. I'd go Rafa versus Carrington, Leo versus Figueroa, and then the winners fight. Let's go. That's what I'm talking. That's what I want to see. Because you got Rafa and Brandon are trained by Manny. Dude, Manny Robles, Andy Ruiz, big upset. Rafa Espinoza, big upset going to the Robesi fight. Resendez versus Caleb, big upset. Figueroa versus Ball, upset. Man, y'all better give Coach Manny his flowers. I'm trying to say thanks for another great weekend with a few dollars, but it keeps saying air for some reason. Next time. However you can support me, brother. You could hook it up on Patreon too. If you guys want to tip me, tip your whatever, tip the swindler. If you want to tip the swindler, you can tip me here, or you could go to Patreon and tip me. I became a member. I want to ask how do I LeBron. I'll message you right now, LeBron. Shout out to Taylor who just joined. Taylor just became our 358th Discord member. LeBron, I'm messaging you right now in the Discord, in the Patreon. So LeBron, go to your Patreon messages. LeBron James. All right, LeBron, check your messages in Patreon. I just messaged you the Discord link. Delphine Pursoon fight I met. It should go the distance or at least over 6.5 with them being older in 2-minute rounds. Yeah. I think so. I'm gonna stick to my guns here because I've already put in my bet for Vera. I've already put my bet in, and so I already have her at plus money. So I'm not gonna get too sexy with the method of victory, which I never do. I took Carolyn Vire here. So I've already placed my bet. You can check on YouTube, check on Patreon. I like Carolyn Vire. I have her at plus money. And what I tend to do, and I talk about this all weeks, every week. I talk about this every week. I know some of you boys were, you listen to my Figueroa pick, but you picked the method of victory. Now, when we're getting a guy like Figueroa at close to plus 300, I never get sexy with the method of victory. Anything can happen. I don't want to get greedy. You know what I mean? Like nothing's worse than taking a dog like Figueroa and then missing the bet because you got greedy in a sense. You picked, how's it gonna go? How's it the outcome? So Figueroa, money line, I always say. Josh Kelly, money line. Julian Rodriguez, money line. Because anything can happen. You know what I mean? I like keeping the pick and the control in our court by just picking the winner in that example. Now, I did hit a prop parlay, but I used it as a hedge. And this is full transparency. The prop I hit was a knockdown prop, a +1, because I was thinking, all right, in my head, how can I hedge this? I think Brandon's going to win. Everybody knows that I'm taking Brandon, but I want to have another live parlay that has this fight on it, but won't. But if Brandon loses, we'll still be live, right? Because of the seven parlays I gave you guys last week, two of the seven had the Figueroa and Ball fight on it, but only one of the two had an outcome. Do you see what I'm saying? Nothing hurts more than when we build our parlays and one fight destroys all of them. If you go back 3 weeks ago to the Raymond Morataya Andy Cruz fight, now I posted 8 parlays that week. 3 of them hit. Of the 8 parlays, only 2 of them had the outcome, or only 2 of them had Andy Cruz and Raymond Morataya on it. The long parlay had Andy Cruz winning, and then I did a prop bet with a knockdown, so it didn't have the outcome. Now we know that Morataya won, so that long parlay lost, but I still had 6 other active tickets. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's sort of my strategy of picking fights, picking dogs, of giving myself the best opportunity to win for you guys, to where it's like, all right, if I'm doing 6 tickets and all 6 have the same fight on it, if that one fight loses, we're leaving home with nothing. That's why I say we're archaeologists. The one thing you can trust in me for your JSB membership, for your support, is I will find you a win. Look at when I started this. There hasn't been 1 week we didn't have one win. I will find you a win. We're on a dig. We're on an archaeological dig together on these live streams. These live streams are us navigating what do we like, putting parlays together. We're going to find a win, and we always do. A lot of that comes with strategy. You could know all you want in boxing, but sometimes your knowledge will backfire. And then you have to go from knowledge to the fighters to strategy. Strategy is equally as important. Johnny, when worse comes, I also believe Barrios has the upper hand. He has heart, a chin. Before he was knocked out, he was knocked down by Tank. Punches harder than Garcia. Also, Garcia trained by his dad, Russ. Yeah, and think about this fight is at 147. Where did he fight Tank at? Was it at 140? I'm sure there's a rehydration clause. That was years ago, too. Yo, welcome. Welcome. Is the Discord in? PJ, are you doing any parlays? I gave you guys Japan. I gave you guys my Japanese picks. I can see multiple knockdowns in Garcia versus Barrios fight. There should be good props. Same, Mosby. So that's how I'm gonna roll with that fight. Obviously, I'm gonna take a winner on a money line, and then we're gonna do a prop parlay like we always do. Guys, we're floating between 60 and 80 on this live. It is Tuesday morning, so I say thank you. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Join our Discord. Join our Patreon. The link is pinned. It's a couple bucks a month. I like the style matchup for Fig. Same. Fighters, no fighters, man. If you can't sit in front, 100%. And I know Rob fights. I still spar. He's still trying to get fights. He's my age. Rob's still trying to get sanctioned, savage. But, I've been sparring. I started boxing as a young kid. I've been sparring and boxing since the last 14 years. You know what matchups mean. You know, like if you have, at this stage of the game, I'm never going to spar anyone I don't know. I'll be 44. I don't need head injuries. I'm not doing it. I don't have an ego. I don't give a shit if, you think that, you could take me. I'm on my grown man shit. I'm doing it for longevity. I'm doing it for problem solving. I'm doing it for love of the game. My point is, the more sparring you do, the more fights you have, you're able to, I like counterboxing. So, for instance, my style, I'll use the whole ring, and I love using my jab, and I love walking you onto shots. I like counterboxing, but I also like fighting in the clinch. So it's kind of like wherever my opponent gives me, I love body punching. I love clinch fighting. I like keeping it dirty. But in a perfect world, my fight would be on the outside. I'd use the entire ring. I'd use my movement. I weaponize my cardio. And then once I see you psychologically sort of frustrated, then I'll attack. Okay. Now, when you're looking at these high level world title matchups, you see, all right, and we were fortunate to know we had a Nick Ball fight style, which is very, you can see Nick Ball in his silhouette. If you had the silhouette of Nick Ball, and that's all you saw, you would know it was Nick Ball. If you had the silhouette of Brandon Figueroa, and you just saw the silhouette, you would know it was Figgy. Not, you can't say that about all fighters. You know what I mean? Some you can. When we have matchups like that, you can then predict outcomes based on the stylistic. You know, it doesn't always go our way, but stylistically, it was a great matchup. What you saying about Pursoon winning? I didn't say that. I didn't say Pursoon winning. Come on, boxing booth. Check the parlay, bro. I just posted on YouTube, big dog. I gave you my pick for the Pursoon fight is up on YouTube, brother. How do you think Sam Goodman would go? I don't think Sam Goodman goes back to 26. I think Sam Goodman is fine. Look, you want advantages in boxing. Sam Goodman's advantages in boxing are being a big 122 guy. He still wants that Inoue fight. With Ball losing, anything can happen. Sam Goodman was winning rounds against Nick Ball. I told you guys this. Sam Goodman is a good boxer, dude. Sam Goodman uses the entire ring. He has good hands. He just doesn't have power. So I think Sam Goodman stays at 122. I think Figgy would. Yeah, I don't. That's a bad matchup. Prince Charles Martin is going to step. You think so? Nice take. Hey, I'm here for it. Nice take. You want him to turn back the clock. It could happen. He could turn back the clock. I'm not going to hate on that take. I don't hate on any of your takes. Hopefully we can get those matches. Yeah, September 12th. Turkey. Turkey. The Saudi Riyadh gods make this happen. Like, am I wrong with wanting to see Figueroa versus Angelo Leo? Because I don't see anybody, no talking heads are talking about it. But I think it goes back to like the hopeless romantic in me. Because what if that? Because if if Leo fought, Leo is a RGBA guy, Figgy is a Manny Robles guy, right? And then you take Rafa, who's a Manny Robles guy, and Shushu in the winner's fight. Could you imagine the decision-making process that would have to be made if Rafa beat Carrington and Brandon beat Leo? You'd have Manny Robles. They'd have to make a decision. I'm all about it, baby. Spence versus Tim. Bro, I'm hearing the rumblings here in Sydney. I'm not going to lie. I'm hearing the rumblings. People are saying this fight's official. People are saying this fight is official. I haven't heard anything about it, but I got to be honest with you. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Who doesn't take any tune-ups? I'm not saying I agree with that, but we know EJ a whole dog. You're piecing a dog together in a laboratory. That's Errol Spence. He a whole dog. I don't care what you say about him. Dude, he was going into the Bud Crawford fight. I was an EJ fan. Some of you OGs on this channel remember back in 2023. You've been with me for a while on this journey. I told you guys I had a bet with my wallet and not with my heart. Betting against Errol was one of the hardest things I had to do in boxing. When I took Terrence to win, I took Bud to win, and we know how that went. But EJ is, he a whole dog. And he's sparring in Philly, dude. He went up to Philly to get those with Breadman. He went up to Philly to get those sparring sessions in, boy, on the download, dude. You follow his Instagram, you see all those, every now and then he'll he's very family oriented. He's filling up his cup, his soul, and you start seeing these sort of like philosophical quotes, the sort of like, do things done in silence will be known in the light sort of thing. I'm like, dude, we've seen before the Bud fight, we would see Errol get in and out of shape. I mean, when is everything I've seen over the last 2 years, Errol has just been living with a six pack. He looks like, I think what's happened is he's been on the down low, recovering his neurological system, recovering from the damage, adding muscle, filling his spiritual cup with his family, and I think he's been training the whole time, man. John Locke, man, we need you in our Discord, brother. We have an NBA channel in the Discord. I'm sure the boys could use your tips. Sitting me handsome. Is this my girlfriend? Is this Chrissy? She always calls me handsome. Thank you. I took yeah, King. And then we saw it came out, right? I think I saw this. I know I heard from you in the Discord, but I follow YSN on YouTube. I think I saw an interview about it too. Everybody at Legends Gym knew Andy was beating Joshua. He was in the best shape of his life. Had sparring with Charles, Brazil, and Michael Hunter was 13-1. Did you have action on that? I wasn't at Legends Gym. I didn't know Andy was gonna win. Did you see today Discord announced that every user is gonna need to provide either what? Hey man, I don't mind that actually because we get that'll help. I don't mind that at all. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Big Brother and being micromanaged by the government, but we got since August. I started the Discord in August. We're approaching 400 JSB insiders. The only issues we've ever had in there are with anonymous users who hide in the shadows, who troll and talk shit. And I don't mind this. I don't mind a level of security for Discord, especially if we're creating a community and we're relying on each other's knowledge to be successful. I don't mind that, especially because we're not doing anything nefarious in there. Guilty epic. And it happens, brother. And man, the odds were insane, and it was looking great. We had Brandon was up on 2 cards. I had Brandon winning nicely. I had Brandon up by at least 2 rounds, and then thing this happened. But wood shop, this happens to all of us. Well, the reason why I have my system now is because that happened to me. You know what I mean? And for me, I have to keep everything locked in because I give everything away. So I suggest for you as well, because we all like winning, make small adjustments because you're picking the winner, right? Have your own sort of boundaries and your own sort of systems to where, hey, if I'm taking this dog and it's already great value, let's leave some money on the table for the sake of the nice win versus getting a little bit greedy and then not winning. Because I think it's happened to me before. That feeling is worse than for me. Like picking Fig to win, but pick him on points and then he gets a stoppage. That might be a worse feeling than just picking Nick Ball to win. I don't have that answer, but you see my point. You mentioned the knockdown on the live stream. Yes. Yeah, I talked about the knockdowns. I talked about the body punching, and I said I was going to play the knockdown prop. Will you cover? Oh, 100%. I love this fight, LeBron. Guys, if you know, in LeBron's new, he's been tapping in. He's one of our newest JSB insiders. But the longer you're on the channel, the more you'll hear me say things like, I love British boxing. I love domestic Australia boxing, partially because I live here in Sydney and I could go to the fights. I love British boxing, and this is world level British fighting. We got Lethal Lee Wood, coming off that loss to Anthony Kakachi when he was going up, and Kakachi gave up his belt. That was such a huge fight economically for both guys that Kakachi passed on fighting Sugar Nunez, gives up his belt to fight Lee Wood, and now fortunately for Kakachi, he's getting another shot against Jazza, which is another fight I can't wait for. And then with Warrington's a guy been written off. He went from a guy being teetering, I think before the Bronco Lara fight. I mean, what was his record before the Bronco Lara fight? And have you seen all the media that they're putting behind this? The Back to the Future monologue that they did. So Josh is 32-4. He's been stopped twice. Yeah. So going into the Bronco Lara fight, he was undefeated. He was flirting on pound for pound lists. If you guys been in the game now, there was only 2021. It was 5 years ago. Bronco Lara stops in the ninth. They fight again to a technical draw due to I think a cut. Him stopping Kiko Martinez, people asleep. Kiko was a whole dog too. Kiko, far from a perfect record, but Kiko had some big wins. And when Kiko got stopped against Josh in the seventh, people were like, all right, Josh is back. But then he loses 3 straight. He lost, people. I don't think we say Luis Alberto Lopez's name enough, by the way. He loses to Luis Alberto Lopez. He got stopped against Lee Wood in the seventh. He loses a decision to Kakachi. And then he fought again against Assad Khan, won a decision. Where's this fight at? Is this a 20? Is this a 26? Super feather. Lee's 37. Josh is 35. See, this is the thing, though. Like, oh man, how much they both have a lot of damage. I think it's a toss up. I'm definitely breaking the fight down. Ryan trained with his dad, was supposed to train with Trevor Sambrano. He flaked. Ryan doesn't like being uncomfortable, guys. The great Marvin Hagler quote: "You can't be great sleeping in silk sheets. You can't be dangerous. It's hard to be dangerous sleeping in silk sheets." Boxing booth. If ever you're in doubt, bro, just check the post because it's my first ticket actually too. So it's up on the YouTube channel. It's up on Patreon. It's all good. I'm taking the 37-year-old, and I'm my reasoning is speed, and I don't Pursoon 41 long in the tooth. Those battles against Katie were half a decade ago, and I'm leaning on the A side. I'm leaning on the speed advantage because she has a speed advantage. I think it's going to be a nip and tuck close fight though. I like the over, I like the distance, and I like the money line. That's my dog. Garcia may get stopped or knocked down. Jay Sai, you're late, but you're always welcome. Guys, we're an hour in and we're floating between 60 and 80 live streams right now on a Tuesday morning. So I say thank you. I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. Could you please like this video? Could you please let me know any questions you have about fights that have happened? You could ask me about betting philosophy, why I bet a certain way. We have fights today in Tokyo. We have two fights in Japan. I gave you guys a little half unit parlay. So it's Japanese. Anything can happen. This is domestic level Japanese boxing. I took one dog and I took one favorite. We're gonna shake it up, roll the dice, and see. Let's go. And then we got the fights tomorrow with Joshua Pagan. We covered Pagan's last fight against Malik Montgomery. Malik Montgomery, legit pro, solid amateur guy. And Pagan, who doesn't have a lot of knockouts on his record, fought his ass off. The best version I saw of Pagan, and he stopped Malik. I think Pagan gets a stoppage. I don't have props yet. That's tomorrow. I'll keep you guys in the loop. We got FA Ajagba this weekend. We're going to find victories. We are archaeologists. There is a lot of boxing every week. One of the best decisions I ever made from a content creator perspective was in 2023. I went from posting all of my business I would interview like Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone. I'd interview authors like Robert Greene. Lawrence Krauss, who's a MIT physics metaphysicist. Things like the best decision I ever made was just focusing strictly on boxing. One of my he was an angel investor. He invested in my first documentary in 2019. It's how I have all the filming equipment. He started off as a client of mine. He's a multi millionaire, and he turns to me in 2019. We traveled the world together filming this bare knuckle boxing documentary. And in 2019, he was like, Johnny, he was like, you should just do boxing. He was like, your content, just focus on boxing. He was like, the way you talk about it, not many people talk about it like that. And and it took me another 4 years to listen to him. So Lenny, shout out to Lenny, man. Lenny is my guy. Angela Leo is a tough go for anyone, but I'm thinking stylistically, I think Angela Leo's style and Brandon Figueroa's style would mesh really well together. I think at this stage of the game, even though they're nearly the same age, I think Carrington's style with Figueroa would be too much. I do. I don't even think that fight would be that close. I, I'm really high on Shushu. His he not only has good timing, but he has that speed and power. But I'm not, as you know, I'm not one to ever count Figgy out. Even though he did go from my no bet list to sort of helping the channel grow. So this is news. Lloyd, what's up, my guy? So this is news. Did this go official, boys? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Yo! Oh, in breaking news, this is 7 minutes ago. We got JSB breaking news in real time. Errol Spence Jr. will face Tim Tszyu at 154 pounds in a massive fight. Spence, 35, hasn't fought since being TKO'd by Terrence Bud Crawford in Vegas 2023. He has hinted at his return multiple times on social media. It appears he will lace gloves up one more time. Yo, that just put a massive smile on my face. Look at this. We got breaking news, y'all. Johnny says boxing as of 7 minutes ago. Errol Spence Jr. will return to boxing after nearly 3 years. Shout out to King of Fitness. Shout out to Lloyd Hernandez for breaking this news on the channel. The man known as The Truth isn't done with boxing just yet. Errol Spence Jr., 28-1, will make his long-awaited return to the ring this summer. Sources told Mike Coppinger of Ring Magazine. Spence will face Tim Tszyu, 26-3 at 154 pounds in a massive fight. Spence, 35, hasn't fought since being TKO'd by Bud Crawford. It appears he'll lace the gloves up at least one more time. He will train in Philadelphia, the Illadel, with well-known trainer Stephen Breadman Edwards. Spence and longtime trainer Derek James split in 2024 following a legal dispute. Tszyu was at one point considered the boogeyman of the super welterweight division. I disagree, winning the WBO title with a unanimous decision win over Brian Mendoza, 23-4. But following 3 losses in his last 5 fights, including 2 knockout losses, Tim Tszyu has gone back to the drawing board to revive his career. Spence has fought the majority of his career in Texas. From DeSoto, Texas, 3 of his last fights before his hiatus were at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. The fight could also take place in Las Vegas, Nevada. The fight will likely air on PBC on Amazon Prime Video. Regardless of where and when it takes place, Spence is considered one of the biggest names in boxing. Will Errol Spence Jr. or Tim Tszyu be favored to win? With official odds haven't been released yet, Tim Tszyu will be likely favored in this fight. Despite his recent struggles, he's been more active, and according to Coppinger, will take a tune-up before facing Spence. Shout out to Tim Tszyu, baby. That he will take a tune-up. The big question in the fight is, how will Errol Spence Jr. look coming off a 3-year break? Ring rust is considered to be a massive deterrent in how fighters perform. If Spence loses, especially in a devastating fashion, this will more likely be the last fight of his career. For Tszyu, this fight represents his path to getting back to the top of boxing. A win over one of the most well-known boxers in the sport would put him in a position to challenge for a title once again. Guys, what do you make of this? What do you make of this? Yo, this is crazy. It's official. It's official. Breaking news. Just Google it. I just read the article. I Googled Tim Tszyu, heavysports.com. Here, I'll put the link. Here's the link if you want to read it. That's the link I just posted in the chat. You don't do fights that ain't official, but Spence versus Tszyu for. Well, it's funny that they said Tim Tszyu is going to take a tune-up. So I'm going to watch the tune-up. I'm going to watch, luckily for us, hopefully the Philly guys will keep their gym on 24/7 filming. And I know YSN is going to be reporting on this. They're probably doing a live stream as we speak. Shout out to YSN. Shout out to Greg Hackett. I love the Philly boys. My dad took me to Philly when I was 13. I was 13 years old, hadn't even gone through puberty yet, and was sparring. Not at one of the big gyms though, but great, one of America's great fight towns. I don't know, man. I'm definitely gonna need to separate heart and wallet on this. This is crazy. I'd rather see Fig and Espo versus Leo and Shushu. Let me think about that one. If Tszyu didn't lose to Fedora, Bud would have knocked him out. Bud. Rolling with the truth. Yeah, no tune-ups for Spencer. EJ, a whole dog. I told you guys. No tune-up. No tune-ups for he self-proclaims it. He self-proclaims it. If EJ is the dog, I'm loading up. Let's go. Spence always said he don't take tune-ups. That's right. What's Skills saying? Hard to say. Both Zoo and Spence took a lot of punishment. Bud changed the trajectory of many careers. If Spence continued training and hasn't been partying like he used to and clean, I mean, let's go to EJ's Insta real quick then. This is EJ's Insta. I mean, from like all the photos we've seen him post. He posted 20 hours ago. So I'm waiting for this to load. So I'm waiting for this to load. But Errol posted 20 hours ago, and it was just a reshare of him fighting Ugas. So I don't know if that was a premonition. But let's see if okay, there we go. Now let's see if any. So this is Errol's Insta. This was yesterday. He shares this. It was a a fan reshare. Let's see if Instagram has anything on it. Tim Zoo. Yeah, well, cats. Errol fans are about to go crazy. Menace Boxing. I'll be back. That was 9 weeks ago. So he says 9 weeks ago he'll be back. He was training. He was training. This was 43 minutes ago. Errol Spence Jr. is reportedly set to return this ring again this summer against Tim Zoo. Inside Boxing Syndicate, 40 minutes ago. Yeah, the news is going everywhere, guys. The news is going everywhere. Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. I'll share it right here. So the YouTube documentary, I followed and traveled with Dave LeDuc. Dave LeDuc is a Lethway world champion. It's on my YouTube channel. I'll just share the link in here. If you go to my YouTube channel, you go to playlists. You'll see the playlist called documentaries. So I've done three real documentaries funded by angel investors. I've gone to Sony Pictures in Hollywood to pitch to angel investors. That's actually in this documentary, and I'll share it with you. Okay, it's right here. So that's the link. And then, you know what? I'll also share it on my post section. So if you go to my YouTube channel, go to post, create post, documentary. So Lethwei is an ancient bare knuckle martial art from Myanmar, Burma. It's Burmese boxing. It's where the Thais took Muay Thai from. But the thing about Lethwei is that it's bare knuckle and headbutts are legal. And the first ever white skinned world champion was a Canadian named Dave LeDuc. That's what the documentary is about. All right, I just also posted it on the public post section. What's up, Grubster? How do I get the Discord? Grubster, I'm going to send it to you right now. So we got, I see Taylor just popped in. Invites, Patreon. LeBron James, I just sent you the link. Tony Grubster, are you Tony Fitz? Yeah, it's the same icon. Okay, Tony Fitz. Oh shit! Disregard that link. Disregard that link. I accidentally sent you the wrong link. Copy link. Link copied. All right, Tony Fitz. Go to your Patreon message. Disregard the first message, and then I sent you the link is right there. Guys, I gotta go train. This was fun. We're over an hour. We still got 55 people in here. Virtual hug. We got fights in Japan tonight. I will post my parlay in the Patreon and on the YouTube channel. Let's go.